Welcome to Grandad's Reviews. In this video, I'm going to have a look at something that keeps cropping up on some of the Facebook groups I'm on. And that's if you've got a Canon R camera, like I've got the R8, and you want to use something like this Canon EF 24-105 f4 on your R8, what adapter to get? Now, Canon obviously produce their own adapters. They've got the normal adapter and the adapter with the control ring. And if I was going to be honest, if I wanted an adapter with a control ring, if I could afford it, I'd buy the Canon one, because some of the third-party ones do seem to have issues now and again with the adapters with the control ring. And the main reason for that, as far as I'm aware, is that the adapters with the control ring have got firmware in so that the camera and the control ring on the adapter can speak to each other. And that's where some of the issues come on. Whereas with the Canon, obviously, it's Canon software, Canon firmware. Yeah, there's no back engineering or anything like that. It just works. But when it comes to just the normal adapter, which hasn't got a control ring, as far as I'm aware, and I haven't stripped one to find out, but I'm reliably told, it's just the pins being passed through from one to the other. So in that case, I would recommend the third-party ones. Now you can get really cheap third-party, you can get dear third-party, and everything in between. So what I thought I'd have a look at is the two third-party ones I've got. My original one is this JJC adapter. And now I've got the 7Artisans adapter. And as I say, basically you're taking the RF connectors and passing them through to the EF connectors. That's all you're doing. And obviously all the RF ones don't get used because they're for the control ring. So when looking for a third-party adapter like these, the only real thing you've got to look for is the build quality. So on the JJC one, I think it's very well built, well baffled inside, so you're not getting any light bouncing around. The release for the lens is quite good. Got metal mounts, front and rear, and it's a good tight fit. As you can see, it doesn't move there. When we've got the lens on, there's a teeny weeny bit of movement, but it's the tiniest amount. I don't know if you can even see that. Nothing. It's a good fit, and it works really well. All the autofocus works exactly the same as my RF lenses. Okay, the motors in the old EF lens aren't quite as fast, but it's still fast enough. You don't really know the difference. It's milliseconds, to be honest. So quite like the JJC one. The 7Artisans one. Again, good tight fit on the camera, no movement whatsoever. And probably just the same amount of movement but nothing compared to the JJC, so they're roughly the same. And again, the autofocus works fine, just the same as a JJC, no different, because it's just passing the terminals through. As long as it's a good fit, that's all that matters. What don't I like about these two? Well, on the JJC, when you want to mount this to the camera, the red dot is barely noticeable. It's really difficult, especially if the light's a bit low. It's really hard to find that. Not impossible. You get there, you soon get used to it. And when you're attaching the lens, you've got the two dots, round one for EF, square for EFS, but they're both white. And if you know the difference between the EF and EFS lenses, is EF has a red dot, round dot, and EFS, I think I've got it here. And EFS is a white square. But these are both white. Not a deal breaker, but there you go. On the 7Artisans, strangely, the mark for lining up the adapter to the body is a white line. But to line up the EF, it's a round red dot, and the EFS square white. So a bit strange. When I first got these and I looked at them, I thought, hang on, if you can look at the hole through the JJC and then the hole through 7Artisans, see if I can line these up. The hole in the JJC is not as wide. And I thought, hang on, is that going to cause any vignetting or anything? But it doesn't. It actually is wide enough to cover the sensor. This one's just a little bit wider. So just a design difference, that's all. So they both work perfectly well. No difference whatsoever. I'll stick the lens on the camera and show you how the autofocus works. So you can see there's no difference really. Yeah, I mean, it's all down to build quality, I think. The 7Artisans has got a slightly bigger button for removing the lens compared to the JJC. I don't know if you can see compared to that one. It's a bit more flush. I think what the difference is the JJC has got this bump that comes nearly level with the button lever as such, whereas the 7Artisans doesn't. You've just got it straight to it. They both come with a tripod mount that you can screw onto both of them, but I find that gets in the way of my cage on the R50, and if I put the battery grip on the bottom of the R8, then that catches as well. So I don't use it, don't need it. I've got a tripod foot on the lens if I need it. So these two I can recommend. I think they're brilliant. And they'll let you use all your EF glass just as well as the RF glass. And the EF glass you can get ridiculously cheap. But looking at some of the cheaper versions of these and some of the reviews, they don't fit as tight on the body, and then you can get the connectors not connecting properly, and that causes all kinds of issues. But these are fine. So I'll show you a quick test on the AF on both these. So you've seen the quick test, and my conclusion: if you want to spend the extra on a Canon one, yeah, go for it. Its build quality is excellent, but these do exactly the same job for a third of the price. But as I say, if you want one with a control ring, I personally would buy a Canon one if I could afford it. I know some of the third-party adapters with the controller, they seem to work okay, but others have issues, and it's whether you want those issues or not. I don't personally use the control ring on any of my RF lenses, so it's not something I'm going to invest in. So we've had a quick look at 2 adapters, so you can adapt Canon EF lenses to your Canon RF camera. And these are like a mid-range adapters, and you can see that they both work perfectly fine. I know it was only a quick test, but I say I've been using these 2 adapters for a while now, and yeah, I've had no issues whatsoever. They fit well. AF is as good as my RF lenses on their own, so I'm really pleased with them. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and it helps the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, see you later.